I'm extremely happy and touched by all those people who have sent me messages to, start making videos on financial astrology. Yes, I've been tied up with certain personal matters, and there were other things, exigencies, which were requiring my attention. But I'm back here, and let me promise that yes, I'm going to be regular with my videos. So today we're going to be discussing something extremely important, the question, the burning question that many people have been asking me, irrespective of whichever continent they are in, okay, India, Europe, US, everyone wants to know as to what is going to happen now to the economy. If you're looking at India, the Sensex is going, choppy, and it's a very volatile market, and people are scared of investing. And there are so many factors which are driving this volatility. And what is going to happen? So, what should be your stand? What should be my stand? That's exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. So let's look at those top 3-4 factors which are responsible for the current volatility in the market. The first one, of course, is the inflation and the fear of the FedEx increasing the interest rates, and then we're talking about the supply chain being in some sort of a trouble, and then the last one we're talking about is the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all of these things astrologically and see as to how it's going to be, the markets are going to behave in future. So the first one we're talking about is, there are, if I'm actually looking at it, there are only 2 points here to discuss. One is the fear of inflation, or the inflation, whatever we're going to say, and the second one is the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So the other factors are all interlinked to these. So if you're talking about supply chain, it is related to the Russia-Ukraine market. See, I don't know if you should be really worried about the supply chain, because India, the Prime Minister of our country, is very smart. He has been finding various ways to ensure that we Indians are not really deprived of any kind of oil supply or something else, essential commodities. Anyways, we are a country who are completely consumer based. If you see, India has very little GDP versus export, or GDP versus import kind of a ratio. So we are not relying on foreign countries. For India is a self-consuming country. It's a consumer-driven economy. So I don't think there is going to be real worry. Okay, now I shouldn't be talking like a economist, or I shouldn't be talking like a normal market analyst. I should be talking from the astrological perspective, right? So let me bring in the astrological perspective here. So if you're going to compare the Indian Prime Minister's horoscope with that of the American President, okay, now we're also talking about other two factors, which is the US driven inflation fears. Okay, inflation, it's no more a fear now, it's there. Inflation is already there. And the second one we're talking about is that the US Reserve interest rates increase and stuff. So they are driven by one important factor, which is the American market is suddenly facing this inflation. Now, it's a very funny thing. If you see, this inflation is not driven because there are lesser jobs. If you actually go into the whole thing, you'll be surprised to know that there are actually more number of jobs available in the American market, and there are less number of people who are actually going there and working, and that is the reason there is this inflation, which is very strange, isn't it? Normally, inflation happens in an economy where there are lesser jobs, then the commodity prices increases and stuff. But it is here, it's very different. Okay, you go and actually go into the depth of it, you'll find that it's a very, very funny situation. Okay, now talking about the Indian Prime Minister, okay, who is the main person, the deciding authority or the head of the country, and we'll compare it with the American President. You will get all the answers in these charts. Okay, so if you look at the American President, Joe Biden has got all the major 4-5 planets debilitated in his chart. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all three major planets, which are at this point of time, they are very, very powerfully placed. Okay, and all of these planets are in debilitation. They are in weaker position in the chart, or in the birth chart of Joe Biden. So what it means is that these planets are in the extreme opposition to the birth chart of Joe Biden, and that is one of the reason. Okay, one of the planets that we're talking about is Uranus, which is debilitated in the 6th house, and 6th house is all about your local or your domestic issues. So the country is facing a lot of issues. He has a Neptune which is weak in the 5th house. 5th house means popularity. I mean, you can see that his popularity is obviously declining because of whatever is happening. And even the planet X is moved into the 8th house. 8th house means other people's money. So at this point of time, he is, the US federal will get into the drive, and that has to be something has to be done about managing the other people's money, tax, that entire thing is not looking so good for America, because the head of America has a poor horoscope, okay, which compared to the planets at this point of time. If I'm going to compare the same with the Indian president, the Indian prime minister, the head of the nation, you will see that Mr. Modi has got Uranus in exaltation, and that is there in the 7th house, and 7th house means impacting people, impacting society, and 5th house means success. So whatever measures that he is going to drive, they are going to give positive results. Okay, so that is very important. And secondly, we are looking at another very powerful planet, the most powerful planet in the universe, which is Pluto. Pluto is exalted in the 4th house, and that is the second lord. Second house means money, wealth, and it is exalted in the 4th house, and 4th house means in the land, the country, the sun, the soil of the motherland. Okay, so what it means is that his economic, whatever stimulation or whatever he's going to do in the Indian economy, it is only going to give positive results. So there are multiple factors we're talking about. If you're looking at common sense, India is a consumer-based economy, and the countries, I'm very, very, very much believing in the growth story of the Indian economy. Indian economy is going to grow. Okay, we're talking about so many trillions of, the India is going to become so many trillion economy by 2025, 2029. I believe in the story, at least till 2025, it is going to be fantastic. It is going to grow. The GDP is going to grow. So if the GDP is going to grow, it will only come because the Sensex is doing well. Okay, so I would say that you shouldn't be really, really worried. Whatever is happening in America shouldn't be impacting India. I'll give you a simple reason. In 2008, the worst economic crisis that America was going through, even in that year, in 2008, you can go and check back the records. You will see that Indian economy grew by 5% even in that year. Okay, so what it means is that whatever happens in America is not going to impact India, and India will not be impacted by the whole thing. And I would say that the growth story is going to remain intact, and India is going to grow. So what are you supposed to do? The markets are choppy, so what are you supposed to do? It's running sideways. It's like it is running sideways. If you see that it is not falling, it's not growing, but it is only going sideways. So it's like 55,000, okay, that is the 55, 54, 53, 50, then it's like, it's a little choppy, it's a little going sideways, and it has been so for the last 1 year. Okay, and in fact, when the market is volatile, that is the time you should invest, because when the markets are volatile, sometime it is going to become steady, and when it becomes steady, the people who have invested when the market was volatile are the ones who are going to benefit the most. Okay, and why am I as an astrologer, why am I really expecting Indian markets to grow? Simple reason is because the planet X is going to enter into Gemini, okay, by September. And in fact, I'm feeling that, it's already there. Okay, even in June, I'm feeling the impact of the planet X in Gemini, and Gemini is all about consumerism. The Gemini is all about communication. You can see that people are going to Kashmir. Kashmir recorded the highest number of footfalls ever in the last 2-3 decades. Okay, people are moving around, people are going and watching movies, people are dining out like never before. Okay, the consumerism is on an increase, commerce is on an increase, people are going and spending, and things are happening. Okay, and this entire planet X in Gemini will drive the markets into something very positive. And mind you, in Mr. Modi's chart, the planet X is in the 9th house. The 9th house is all about luck. 9th house is all about positivity, and 9th house is all about doing commerce or trade with foreign countries. So Mr. Modi will ensure that it's all going to be good. The trade or commerce with foreign countries is also going to be good, and the Indian economy is only going to be benefited by this. So I still believe in the story. Whatever I have written in my book, which is 91 predictions, I've said that the Indian economy will only grow between 2022 to 24, okay, and it will be. So if it is a choppy market, I would say that stay invested. In fact, I would say that if it is a choppy market, you need to invest during those dips. So every dip, whenever there is uncertainty, invest, so that when there is certainty, that money that you invested during uncertainty would have actually grown. Don't worry, don't bother whatever is happening in the market. You need to stay invested.